Okay, as far as military defense, do this really fast. So here, the mechanism is, I think it would be insurance would provide the funding. So you have big skyscrapers, let's say Manhattan area skyscrapers. There's no government military defense. How could a free society pay for that? Well, these skyscrapers have things like fire insurance policies, right? There's a big fire, you could be out millions of dollars, so you have insurance. And part of what the insurance company would do for a huge skyscraper is say, you better have sprinkler systems, you better have fire extinguishers installed every such and such yards, all this kind of stuff. I want you to have adequate stairwells and ways that the people in the building can get out in case there is a fire and go through, troubleshooting, and have outside firms come in, experts analyze the building plans and make sure this is up to, there wouldn't be government codes, but there would be private sector analogs of safety codes to know this is the modern way we build skyscrapers to minimize damage and death during a major fire. And then if you complied with all that stuff, you would be able to get fire insurance policies. So likewise, if you're the owner, you stand to lose a lot if some outside military comes in and drops bombs on your skyscraper. And so you could have insurance that says in the event that you're conquered by an outside army, or that it's damaged because bombers drop bombs on it, or artillery or so forth, naval guns hit it, we will compensate you. And so now the insurance company that's making that pledge is on the hook for potentially billions of dollars of damage claims, and so they would have the incentive to spend money to minimize the chance of that happening. So it's the insurance companies getting funding from premiums that owners are paying them. That's how they have the money. They're not taxing anybody. But now they have hundreds of millions or billions, depending on how big an area we're talking about, flowing into their coffers. And then they know if we just can make sure that nobody ever conquers them or drops bombs here, we get to keep this money. But if somebody does come in and hurts them militarily, then we're on the hook for compensating. So they're the ones who are going to go and fund people like who are going to maintain tanks, anti-aircraft, SAM sites, satellite observations, things like that. Right? So that's the basic funding mechanism. And again, if you want to read more in my pamphlet, Chaos Theory, check that out. One thing I will mention is this sort of thing is not going to happen. So number one, we're clearly not going to use swastikas. That's just bad PR altogether. That's not good for anybody. But what I'm talking about here is large standing armies. That is not going to be a profit maximizing outcome. Just like look at agriculture, right? Over time, what happens? The amount of people in agriculture shrinks over time because productivity goes up so much. So I think in an apples to apples comparison, a free society would be able easily to repel some huge army coming in with a fraction of the manpower, just like U.S. farms can produce way more wheat with just a few farmers compared to some other country that's more heavily statist. All right, so again, I don't have time to dwell on that, but I just want to mention if people are worried about standing armies turning into the state, I don't think there would be standing armies.